I want to share with you the top 5 useful prompts that I think you should try. In my opinion, and the list I made here are the ones we use day to day, and I think they're the most useful. So the very first one is called a proofreading prompt, and that's when you basically ask ChatGPT to fix grammar and spelling. This is the prompt. Can you proofread the following text and fix grammar and spelling? Then give me exactly what you changed. So this one I use almost all the time. If I write an email, I'll type it in, I'll copy and paste with that prompt in the beginning of it. Very, very useful. And as you could see, basically the format that you'll get is the exact same text, but it will fix things. Like, for example, it says it fixed AI to AI with a capital I for consistency. It changed AI to in AI, right? Capitalize this, remove that. It doesn't change at all your writing if you ask it the question that way. Fix grammar and spelling. It's only gonna do that. If you ask it to rewrite it for clarity, it will actually try to change some things. In my use case for this prompt, I only wanted to fix grammar and spelling. Tell me what it changed so I could review it very quickly. It'll take less than 1 minute to basically input any text in email format or anything you're sending out or posting online. You could just run it through this with this prompt. The next one is language translation, and I found this ChatGPT model and Bard, they do a really good job. Basically, they do a better job than some of the automated tools that I've used in the past. And I've done this for work, for example, to create caption files. So I say, can you translate this to Spanish? I'll give it my text here and it will just output this to Spanish for me. And then I have looked at this from time to time with different people that speak the language that I'm doing the translation, and they said it was pretty good. So you could use another tool, just the typical Google language translation model, to just kind of make sure this is good. But I found that it does a really good job, and these are just getting new languages all the time. So it could do a language translation across lots of different languages. And now I asked it to translate it to French, right? So it could basically create caption files for me or things for my website. A lot of different use cases for language translation I think you'll find useful. This next one is summarizing videos, but this requires you to use ChatGPT 4 with plugins. Now there's a plugin here called VoxScript. So you could make sure you have that available. Again, you could watch the video on plugins and how they work if you don't have these yet, but they require the paid version. There's Video Insight too. So I have both of those turned on. And look at this, summarize this video. And I could literally go on YouTube, press share on a video that I want. I could copy that link. I'll bring it here. I'll paste it here. And look what it does. Basically, it activates these plugins. So in this case, it activated the Video Insight plugin, and you could see this is basically what it's done. It's read through the description. Sometimes it reads through the summary or it reads through the transcript, and it gives me a very detailed rundown of that video. This is a really incredible tool, these plugins that let you do this. They do have these kind of things built in on the back end of some of those other language models like Bard, but I really find these plugins to be really, really strong for scanning YouTube. So this gave me exactly the main key points from that exact video. Now I could say, turn this into a blog post, and it would actually now, look at this, write me a whole blog post from the words of that video, the description of that video. If he has a transcript from the transcript of that video. This is incredible. It's a really good use for marketing. Again, I use this all the time for my website content, for my YouTube descriptions, even to come up with video script ideas that I could revise on my own. The next one that I use all the time is creating tables. So I'm gonna say create a table comparing different options for generative AI. So table is a really good way to compare different things. So obviously you need at least 2 things to create a table. It kind of needs 2 columns and different rows, but it'll figure that out on its own. This is the only prompt I give it. I said, create a table comparing different options for generative AI, and I didn't tell it anything else. So it's actually trying to do what it needs to do. So it says model GPT-3, BERT, this is the one from Google. It's giving me the strength and weaknesses. It decided that's what should be there. I could always do a revision and basically say, hey, I want you to add another column, or I want you to also compare this language model or this generative AI, and it will keep going creating this type of table. And the last one I'll show you in this video is you could simulate a conversation between experts. Any 2 experts, it will create a conversation between them. So in this case, I'm gonna say simulate a conversation between Albert Einstein and Steve Jobs about the power of artificial intelligence. So you need to give it a topic and you need to pick a couple of experts to debate or have a conversation about that topic. You could also do this as a debate and not just say conversation. And look at this, it does this in dialogue format. So it has Einstein saying something, then it has Steve Jobs saying something. And it's really fascinating. I've done this with a lot of different experts across lots of different topics. And every time I do it, it kind of blows me away how kind of accurate it seems if you've read anything about those experts. So I've read some Einstein books, I've read some Steve Jobs books, and it seems like he's talking in their tone of voice and typically what they will say. It's really interesting. And this could be used in lots of different use cases to kind of get an understanding or try to at least get a brief overview of what experts might say about a specific topic. Again, you could do this in research or in your work. I find this one very useful.